Hello everybody, my name is Red Panda Guy, and in today's video, I'm going to be putting myself in an anaphylactic shock as I try to attempt one of the most annoying, self-imposed forms of anxiety and frustration. I'm going to be completing Resident Evil 2's Claire A on hardcore, no damage, 3 saves, with only my starting pistol. Not only that, but I will not be able to use items unless it's to save myself from getting grabbed, and I have to get an S rank, which means beating the game in under just 2 hours. Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't this kinda dumb? Why would you willingly put yourself through hell? Because I know the algorithm, people on the internet, like to see people suffer. Suffering is content! Now our masochistic nightmare starts off with our protagonist, Claire Redfield, making her way towards the modern-day DC metro area, when she makes a quick stop to pick up a Slurpee at the local 7-Eleven. We enter the establishment, everything seeming in order, from the decor to the man bleeding out next to the freezer. The only thing off is there's no clerk at the checkout desk. Being the concerned, law-abiding citizen we are, we take it upon ourselves to go check out the back for any sort of worker that might be able to assist us in our checkout process. As we are on a time crunch and we need to get to the train station before some narcoleptic chimpanzee takes up the last seat. Things quickly turn south when we enter the back room to see a local crackhead disguised as a 7-Eleven employee getting arrested on possession and theft charges. Our sudden appearance accidentally distracts the officer, giving the crackhead enough time to make his move. With the officer down and no one left but us, we choose to get justice for our fellow officer by enacting our Second Amendment right. As we are making an exit, the crackhead, with his last breath, uses it to activate his siren call, calling all crackheads within a 6-mile radius. The 7-Eleven, now swarmed with crackheads, we choose to leave the change and make a swift exit. But as we're leaving, a cop who called in for backup mistakes us for the perpetrator and apprehends us, telling us that he's taking us to the police station and that we could give our testimony once we arrive. But as we are making our way into the city, the cop's plan is stopped short when a drunk driver T-bones the cop car, separating us from the cop. The cop demands that we take ourselves to the police station, promising if we don't, it'll be a lot worse for us. Being the good citizen that we are, we oblige and make our way to the DC police station. With our challenge now officially beginning, there are some rules I would like to clarify. See what I did there? The no damage rule. This rule includes getting bit, punched, scratched, puked on, and insta-killed. The rule has one gray area I would like to exclude from the getting hit rule. This rule being, if I get grabbed and I have a safety weapon, I can use the safety weapon to avoid the damage I would take. However, that is the only way I'm allowed to use these items. This means absolutely no flashing, exploding, or stabbing. With these rules now established, we can start off with our very first area I would like to call Make or Break Alley. Why this name? Because on hardcore, these two dickheads at the end of the hallway like to make their presence very known. I don't understand. But once past this hallway, it's smooth sailing for the rest of part 1 of the police station. After making it out of Make or Break Alley, we inform Marvin that his associate is half the man he used to be, but he gave us his book and he thinks it might help us in our investigation. Marvin then informs us that the siren call made by the crackheads has a lot bigger of a radius. They've taken over the police station, and he urges us to take the book and find a way out of here. If you don't know the objective in part 1, or you've never played the game and this video somehow battled the algorithm and was placed on your feed, first of all, thank you for watching and welcome to Resident Evil. It's fun, I promise. What am I doing? We have to collect 3 medallions that are in statues scattered around the police station. How we acquire these medallions, we have to figure out combinations from the book taken from the officer who willingly gave it to us. Setting off on our expedition, we make our way up the stairs behind us and acquire our first medallion, the Lion Medallion. Let me preface that I've played Resident Evil 2 before, so if your RE2 cherry has yet to be popped, then allow me to confuse you even more by not explaining anything in detail. So after acquiring the Lion Medallion, we make our way through the filth and degenerate-filled halls to acquire our first key of the run, the Blue Club Key. Getting this key allows us to get our next key items, the bolt cutter, spark plug, and wheel. But before all that, we pre-prep the library to make future me's life a little less dog shit. Anyway, the spark plug opens this door, bolt cutters allow us to grab the detonator, and the wheels allow us to pathfind manipulate this crackhead and turn off the Dark Souls fog wall. Heading forward, we run into our first major problem of the whole run. The liquor. If you're unfamiliar with the liquor, he's a skinless, sightless, four-legged, four-armed, four-limbed brain tumor that even if you make the slightest noise over 1/5 of a decibel, it'll end your free trial period subscription of life. With this in mind, we make our way to the STAR's office and quietly grab our next item, the battery, combining it with our detonator to complete our IED. Walking at a reasonable pace past our beloved cockroach, we acquire the unicorn medallion. Going through the door on the left, making it into the library, wrapping right and taking the stairs up to use our IED and acquire our last medallion of part 1. Facing our first hurdle of the run. Now, you might say to yourself, how is this room an issue? Well, remember earlier when I called liquors brain tumors? I wasn't kidding. After many tries, I figured out that running immediately here wasn't an option. And
Dude, the zombie got up too?
I would get hit every single time. So I went through the trial and error gauntlet and eventually found out that if you aim where the liquor is going to be as the mouth breather drops down, it will take a second and make its aggro noise. As soon as it makes this noise, dip to the right and make a break for the door. Once out, we take the remaining 2 medallions to the shrine, placing them opening the secret passage. With our goal now complete, we inform Marvin that we can now make our escape, but he has some bad news for us. He apparently has been scratched by one of these crackheads, and being a former addict in his youth, he feels that there is a high chance of relapse and politely encourages us to go alone. With Marvin reluctantly left behind, we make our way into the bottom layer of the station to come face to face with our first skill check of the run. Now, if you've been paying attention, you would know that this is also a pistol only run. The problem with that, you ask? After this boss fight, besides crafting pistol ammunition, there aren't many pickups along the way. So we need to be careful about our ammo consumption, saving rounds for bosses and spots where we absolutely have to shoot. Luckily, most zombies in the police station you can just run past, and the liquors you have to walk or run or it's over. So we begin our first boss fight of the run. He was relatively easy, but a bullet sponge nonetheless. Defeating him, and with help with our newly introduced side character Sherry, we make our way out of the generator room and get pistol whipped by everyone's favorite antagonist, Pillsbury Doe Chief, promptly separating us from Sherry, labeling the Chief as a serial kidnapper. After Chief Irons pistol whips us and takes our friend, we need to find a way to get her back, and to do so, we need the red diamond key, which can be found in the morgue, so we weasel our way through brain-dead monkey-infested hallways, steal the key off the sleeping nightmare, and make our way into the Chief's office, beginning part 2 of the police station. Now in this part, we are told by our definitely uncorrupt Chief to bring the pendant, which is said to be some sort of key. How that works? Who cares? This is where stuff gets real. And after we acquire the heart key, and with our new objective being the electrical parts, we make our way up the stairs and through the door to obtain our second and third key items of part 2, the gear and our first electrical part. We douse some flames, and the walking aneurysm, that is the hardcore Mr. X AI, promptly introduces himself. Being the RE2 expert that I am, I quickly use all my years of Dead by Daylight survivor comp experience, putting Mr. X in a best ankle breakers of all time compilation. With Mr. X's ankles properly snapped, I could get to work acquiring all the next and last electrical parts needed. With our first sub-objective being the crank, we make our way back to the main lobby and through the door into the main office area, where things get a little complicated. Not only do we have Mr. X and zombies, but now liquors found their way downstairs to add in a little extra dose of lobotomy. This problem aside, we pallet stun the pursuing Mr. X and grab the crank. Heading back the way we came, we see that our dearest friend Marvin has succumbed to his desires and relapsed into a lobotomite. Feeling bad for our former friend, we decide to conserve ammo and let those past choices consume it. Making our way into the library, we thank our past selves and drop the shelf and make our way into the clock tower. Understanding the assignment, we cause thousands in property damage and attain the last piece of the electrical puzzle we need. With Mr. X in hot pursuit, we quickly get back to the Chief Breathes Heavy's office to insert the last electrical piece and grab the ID card so that we can get into the foster home of imaginary friends and save Sherry. After completing the second part of the police station, we are panned over to Sherry's POV, where we make our daring escape. Never mind, I can't remember the block puzzle to save my life. After the hardest puzzle in the game, we make our daring escape, splashing Chief Big Back's face with acid, loop him like a Looney Tunes character, and steal his key. Chasing us downstairs, we both meet with the same man we had thought dead earlier. He has come looking for Sherry and has killed Chief Muffin Top, but sparing Sherry's life, ending Sherry's POV. Back with our protagonist, we make our way to the parking garage where we can, yet again, put Mr. X in a spin cycle and scurry away with him hot on our trail towards an area I would like to call Ojna Valley. After restarting a couple hundred times because dogs have the accuracy and aim of a four-legged drone strike, we finally made our way into the foster home to get Sherry back. We enter the foster home to find no one present. Walking down the hallway to be greeted by the chief, who quickly dies via chest burster after stating it's our fault. What he's talking about? No one knows. Reunited with Sherry, our pursuit for Mr. X isn't over, but soon will be because as we enter the elevator, Mr. X tries to open the door but is denied access by William Birkin via abdominal replacement, after which he unknowingly dislodges the elevator, crashing us into the bottom floor, knocking out Claire. We wake up to meet a strange woman who seems to be busy, so we leave her alone. With nowhere else to go, we make our way into the sewers. Now, this place is my personal hell. I have nothing but disdain for anything and everything in the sewers. After locating Sherry, because we have to save her, for real this time, we need 3 chess pieces, which can be found in the godless hellhole. These pieces being the rook, the queen, and the king. Now, interpret this how you will, but at the beginning I said one of the rules was I was only to use the starting pistol. I never said I couldn't get any upgrades. Be angry if you want, but I never said no upgrades. I'm grabbing the Magnum upgrade. With our revolver now looking like the 45 from MW2, specifically the 2009 Xbox 360 version, we take the stairs down, along with a few zombies, to meet the worst enemy in the franchise. I fucking hate these things. You don't understand how many runs were ruined by these shitty hitbox monstrosities. And with the nature of the challenge, killing them would mean ammunition and time, both of which we are very limited on. So with time and practice, I mastered the art of trial and error. Then I just looked up what speedrunners are doing. After acquiring the rook piece, we dodge this geodull and run past to get to the hardest area in the game for a no damage run, the maze. It's not so much of a maze as it is a choke point for bullshit. Finally making it through the maze, we solve a quick puzzle and obtain the king and queen pieces. With the trip back not being as excruciating, we find ourselves back at the door. We promptly read the useless note and solve the puzzle via quantum entanglement, and soon begin our next bout with William. The objective here is to down William enough to knock him off with the crane. Pretty simple, right? Wrong. The stage is small and the range of his attacks make little room for error, something that we experience very often. Arguably the hardest boss fight and area out of the way, we quickly rescue Sherry to make our way to the final area of the game, Nest. With the final chapter in tow, I feel really confident in my skills to come out of this area unscathed. Or so I thought. In Nest, we are to find Sherry a cure for the G virus as she had been infected and will die if we don't. We need to acquire the feedback thingy first, then find out the codes to unlock this synthesization station and unlock the hatch. Luckily, yours truly remembers them from memory, making everything super quick and easy. There's just one small issue, aside from the play creatures who will make sure you don't enjoy playing this game ever again. Downstairs is a layer of hell, and one of the deeper ones. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 zombies and 2 brain tumors, preventing us from mustering any bit of sanity I had left. But we must overcome adversity and bang our head against the wall. Eventually, banging our head against the wall, hoping that the RNG gods will throw us any inkling of a chance, we finally don't get hit, and we're able to turn on the lights and freeze the solution. Returning back to Plant 43, killing it, and retrieving the last clearance level, we finally make our way to Annette Birkin's office, albeit with some very, very close calls. I can't believe oh my. Making our way out of the hellscape, finding the office, we use the pendant to retrieve the antidote and make our way out of the lab. But as soon as we are about to leave, we are met with our penultimate semi-final boss, G3. Annette, thinking she can provide any kind of support, is quickly vibe checked, one of which she fails. Leaving us alone to finally go head to head with the coolest version of William. Albeit threatening looking, is really no sweat. His attack patterns are fairly slow and easy to dodge. Hello everybody, this is editor Red Panda Guy, and I'm here to explain why I have a rocket launcher instead of, the pistol. So the video recording of this boss fight got corrupted and I couldn't recover it. And I'm not doing that boss fight again. Nah, I'm good. So here's footage of me destroying him with a rocket launcher instead. Enjoy the rest of the video. With the defeat of G3, we hustle back to Sherry and administer the vaccine. Sherry, no longer infected with SARS, watches her mother die and is urged to leave as some chimpanzee decided to activate the self-destruct sequence. Hustling our way to the elevator, taking it down, with some small talk, we make our way through the rest of the lab, avoiding more plant nightmares, and making our way to the train. With us now arrived at our final destination and our final boss fight arena, the train car, we must resist temptation and gather all the supplies that we have reluctantly saved throughout the entire run, causing us to restart many times because I refused to use ammo where I think I didn't need to, has all led up to this moment. Using Baby's first train car battery, we activate the lift and begin our descent, prompting the final boss fight. Enacting my expert strategy of pacing around the train car and using magnum rounds to keep him off the walls, which worked sometimes, but with enough persistence, I managed to barely squeak out that Vic Roy, and with the final cutscene playing, after hours and hours of dedication finally over, the joy of accomplishment not present, because the victory is bittersweet, with 65 or so attempts and an hour 37, we finally managed to beat Resident Evil 2, Claire A, no damage, on hardcore, 3 saves, starting pistol only, with an S rank. Hello everybody. If you enjoyed my self-imposed suffering, why not consider liking, sharing with friends, and hitting that subscribe button? I plan on doing more challenges like this for all kinds of games, and if you have any ideas for challenges of any game, or most games at least, don't be afraid to leave them in the comments, because I do read them. And as always, I will see you in the next video. See ya.